The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Salt River, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33433. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start down at the front bumper of your apparatus. Just under the front bumper, you're going to find two open-ended tow hooks on the frame rail location, right and left side. Just underneath the front bumper cutout location, you'll find dual air horns, passenger and driver side. You'll also find in the face of the bumper 2 speakers for your siren and PA system. Let's move up onto the bumper extension where you'll find 2 D handles which will gain access to the 2 front crosslays. As we move up from this location, you'll find on the outer edge your turn marker indicator. Just inside of that location is the headlight cluster housing the low and high beam headlights. The high beam headlight is located in the center. Directly in the center under the Pierce logo, in the center of the grille, is where you'll find your mechanical siren. Located just above the headlight structure, you'll find 2 emergency lights located on the passenger and driver side. Directly behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the release mechanism for your hood. Moving up onto the one-piece seamless windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers. Moving to the outermost forward edge, you'll find your mirrors housing a convex and also a flat mirror. In the top portion, you'll also find a convex mirror for downward positioning. Located across the brow of the vehicle, you'll find 5 running lights. Located directly in the center, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. As we move up onto the roof of the vehicle, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located in the center, your Opticom. Let's take a look at some of those images. First, this is your bumper extension with the side piece in the upright position, which is not fully deployed. Just in front of the extension of the bumper, you'll find a side-facing emergency light. As we look inside the bumper extension, you'll find 2 1.5-inch discharges. And also a reminder, this is not a step location. As we move to the opposite side, this is the passenger side. You can see it deployed currently. Close up here of the headlight and turn and emergency light structure. And then as we look to the Pierce logo for the hood release, just behind that is where the release mechanism is. As we look to the side of the vehicle, point of entry here, this is going to have your keyed entry point. There are grab handles at all points of entry for personnel. You'll also find your vehicle is equipped with a TAC4 independent front suspension, which provides a superior ride. You'll also find this keypad, which allows you to gain access electronically into the lock system of the door. And then just above that, you'll find a side-facing camera system. You'll also find an auto-eject shoreline inlet. This happens to be a 30-amp auto-eject plug. You'll also find partly in this image the side-facing just over the front tire emergency warning light. As we move upward onto the rear section of the cab, you'll find a side-facing scene light and also a tank indicator, an LED light indicating the level of your water tank. Let's move now to the midsection. This is going to be your pump area. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner, first starting with 2 2.5-inch discharges, discharge number 1 and discharge number 3. You'll also find this warning label, that pressure hazard, indicating that caps may be under pressure and be cautioned when opening them. Behind the Pierce American flag Eagle logo is your large diameter pump intake. Just to the right, you'll find your auxiliary foam function, which happens to be the foam inlet, strainer, and also foam tank drain. There is an indication for a warning label here regarding a foam failure and that you should not mix different brands, consistencies, or types of foam. As we move to the right, you'll find the air supply valve. This is a twist, not a pull. Moving downward, you'll find your air outlet, which is the female side of the brass coupling. Just beneath that, you'll find a fall hazard. Always be cautious when climbing on the side of your vehicle. As we move downward, we're going to find this pan door. The
Contents behind this pan door is going to be your intake relief valve. It is adjustable. There are current instructions on the placard itself. At the very base of the pump panel, you'll find all your associated color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move up to the very top. This is just above the pump section. This is where your hose will come through for your reel rewind location. As we move just downward from that location, you'll find 3 hose storage locations, 2 cross lays and a dead lay. In between the 2 of those, you'll find the release mechanism for those speed lays. You'll also find this warning label regarding entanglement hazard, and be cautious because of those hoses coming above. At the very top in the upper left-hand corner next to the dead lay is where you'll find your backboard storage location. Here is a close-up of those 2 release mechanisms which allow you to remove the entire speed lay. As we move to the side of the vehicle, you'll find your marker light just in front of the rear tire, and then just over the rear tire you'll find an emergency warning side-facing lower light. To the rear of the wheels on the lower section, you'll find 2 folding wheel chocks. This is their storage location. We'll also find on the upper section 2 upper emergency warning lights and also a rear side-facing scene light. Let's take a look now at the pump panel area. We'll start at the very top. If your pump is properly engaged from leaving the cab, you'll find this light illuminating, which is your pump engaged. As we move to the left, we'll move from left to right. This is the minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll cover that in just a moment. To the right, you'll find this aqua colored module. This is your foam indicator for the amount of foam in the tank. Moving to the right to the gray area, you're going to find your master intake gauge. Further to the right, you'll find your master discharge gauge. Between the 2 of those, you'll find your vacuum, pressure, test gauge ports. They are currently plugged. To the upper right-hand side, you're going to find the PCM fault. There is a visual indicator in addition with an audible indicator. The audible sound does have the ability to be dampened by the outer edge of the bezel. Let's move now to the minimum operation maintenance schedule. This is for 150, 200, and 250 psi. The associated GPMs are on the left-hand side of the plaque, and on the right-hand side are the associated RPMs at a governed speed of 2,100 RPMs. Let's move now just to the next section down. This is going to be your discharges. First, I'd like to note from left to right, your discharges are color-coded in addition with labeled. All of these discharges here appear to be foam and water capable, indicating by the red placard. As we move to the right, we'll talk about the Pierce pressure throttle governor. First, if illuminated, the yellow check engine light would be located on the left-hand side. Located in the center is a digital readout, which is your RPM. And then further to the right, if illuminated, would be red, a stop engine. Just beneath that, you'll find a digital readout regarding all of your engine diagnostic information. And in the blue module, you'll find your water tank level indicator. Moving just to the opposite side of that, you'll find a red silence button. This will allow you to silence the audible alarm. And then as we move further down, you'll find the orange menu button, which allows you to select through the various menu functions. As we move down into the black area of this module, you'll find 2 lights. First, pressure control or throttle control. You'll need to select one of those, and how you do that is through the control module, which is the blue button. Just in the center, you'll find a throttle ready indicator light, indicating that you're okay to use the throttle. And to the right, you'll find a green preset. This will be utilized for preset pressures. Down in the next section, you'll find the right increase the throttle on the knob, and directly in the center, you'll find a push to move to the idle position. Left will decrease. Let's take a look on the left-hand side of the pump panel. You're going to find first the Elkhart brass extender. This allows you to extend your MasterStream device up above the cab location. And then you'll also find the control module for that Elkhart brass. As we move further down, you'll find the rewind for your reel, and also in red, an air horn evacuation button. Let's move just to the right. This is just a close-up of that image here of the EXM. Once again, that's the control module for your MasterStream device, your reel rewind, and then also some future switches. As we move to the very top of this image, you'll find the electronic control valve. This is for the large diameter pump intake on the passenger side. As we move down from that location, you'll find these two valves. First, tank refill and recirculating line, and then to the right, you'll find your tank to pump. Let's move to the upper section here on the right where you'll find your fire pump primer. There are some instructions just below that in the white placard regarding for enhanced priming. Performance should be at least 1,000 RPMs while engaging the primer. Let's move further to the right in the red module. This is your Husky 12 foam system. In this area, red module, you'll first find at the very top a green power indicator that the foam system is on. Moving to the right, you'll find an indicator that you are flowing foam. As I move down further, you'll find the red button, which is the on-off switch. Moving to the right in the yellow, you'll find the foam prime button for priming your foam pump. As we move further down into the orange, you'll find a page button, which allows you to roll through the various page menus. And then in the blue, which is an enter button to select what you're asking for on the page button. The two green arrows are indicators for paging up or down or increasing or decreasing the foam concentrate. In the upper right-hand corner, a little difficult to see in this image, is only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. Down in the bottom, you'll find two Acron gauges. These are electronic valves for the number 2 passenger side and also for the large diameter passenger side. We do have two also gauges located on this side, passenger side pre-connect B and also your deluge discharge. On the right-hand side of the panel, you're also going to find your Husky 12 foam system specifications and instructions. Moving down to the lower left-hand side of the pump panel, you'll find the remote for your deluge discharge. And at the top section here in this image is where you'll find all of your turn for your discharges. These are all drains. Also located across the bottom, color-coded and labeled drains. Let's move to the pan door on the right-hand side. You'll find the yellow handle, which coincides with the instructions on the door on the back side. And as we move to the red cover here, this is the protected switch for your manual pump shift with an indicator light located to the right once you've engaged. Let's move to the exterior of the pumper. First, you'll find the first set of doors. These are going to be your SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps. Behind the rear wheel area, you'll find the silver cap ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. And at the very top, you'll find the blue 4.5 US gallon DEF tank. As we move to the middle compartment, you'll find a pull-out tilt-down shelf. The release mechanism allows you to pull just the cable or the two outer black release mechanisms. There is LED lighting inside all of your compartments in addition with dry deck material. Let's go ahead and move to the next compartment just behind the rear wheel, where you'll find your pegboard. This is a D handle to gain access to the rear section of the pegboard, and there is a locking mechanism on the hinged side just inside of that pegboard location. Quick view of the rear section of your apparatus. We'll cover some of the items within this area. Let's first start with the brake, turn, and backup lights. There's a cluster on the passenger and driver side. There are also several emergency lights back here in the rear section. You can see the 4 lower section emergency lights and the 2 upper section. There is a ladder for gaining access to the top section. There are some warning labels on that ladder regarding pinch hazard and the ability to control that ladder when you actually release the mechanism. Located in the center, just above the Pierce logo, is where you'll find your backup camera. Above that, your traffic advisor. And then just above that, you'll find your rear scene light. There are also 2 access doors located in the rear section of your apparatus. First, the upper one, which is located by the ladder, and a lower one, which is located by the license plate. Let's first take a look at some warning labels. This is a fall warning label regarding climbing on the rear section of the apparatus, and there's also a fall hazard that you should not ride on the rear section of the apparatus. There's also a warning label here regarding entanglement hazard. Because of those hoses coming from above, there is the possibility of entanglement. Just behind the ladder is where you'll find this access door housing a 10-foot folding ladder, in addition with 2 locations for long tool storage. Moving downward, you'll find your equipment rack hydraulic reservoir. This is in case there is an electronic failure. This is the mechanism which allows you to raise and lower the ladder. First, on the left-hand side, the red bar, which allows you to access the pump, and then the black handle, which allows you to lower the ladder. Let's move now to the rear section of the apparatus, where you'll find the roll-up door in the up position, and the D handle now has been released, allowing you to gain access to the tailboard saver. Inside this compartment, dry deck material, LED lighting, and adjustable shelving. As we move to the outer section, you'll find your powered equipment rack. First, there is a warning and danger label regarding moving equipment rack, and also instructions how to raise and lower. There are two switches, first an on-off switch, and then a lift up or down switch with a green indicator that the power has been activated. Quick side view of the apparatus. Let's move to the rear compartment, where you'll find a pull-out tray. This is the release mechanism on the right-hand side. Moving upward, you'll also find an additional pull-out tray. The release mechanism is also on the right-hand side. Just above the shelf at the very top, you'll also find access for 110. This is when plugged into shore power. As we move forward to this location just behind the rear wheels, you'll find bottle storage location for SCBA with retaining straps, and also oxygen bottle storage location. Now as we move to the mid-section, you'll find a pull-out tilt-down style shelf, LED lighting, and also dry deck material inside this compartment. Let's look forward of the rear wheel. You'll find 3 SCBA bottle storage location, in addition with retaining straps. Let's go ahead and move forward of this location, and we'll find 2 adjustable shelves and a center divider. At the very top of the compartment, you'll find 2 outlets housing 4 total plugs. These are when plugged into shore power that they'll be active. This is a 20 amp outlet. Once again, when plugged into shore power, those are activated. Let's now move just in front of that divider, where you'll find the S1 panel. This is for when you're plugged into shore power. These are the breakers for those individual outlets. There is a warning label in this regarding electrical shock hazard. Let's go ahead and move forward of this location, midship location. This is the passenger side. Couple of warning labels we'll need to cover. First, fall injury, and then also a warning label regarding pressure hazards. Let's move up to the very top of this panel area, where you'll find this plug located behind the cap. This is the black plug location for your TFT intake valve. As we move down, this is your water strainer. The Pierce logo, American flag, and eagle is your large diameter pump intake. Let's move now just to the right of this location, where you'll find the number 2 passenger side discharge. Because this is an electronic valve, there is an override. And then just beneath that, you'll find the large diameter passenger side discharge with an override. To the left of the image, you'll find the 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet. And then as we move now, this is an image with that valve connected. You can see the water line going behind the pump panel, and then also your electrical connection in the upper section. Let's go ahead and move now down to the very bottom, where you'll find all your associated color-coded and labeled drains. As we move just above the pump location, you'll find the same layout as the driver's side, dead lay at the top and 2 crossloads at the very bottom section. On a point of entry here, on the door panel, you'll find warning labels. You'll also find a grab handle at the hinge side, that's the red strap. And then you'll also find an LED light indicating when the door is in the open position. Let's go ahead and move just inside the cab, where you'll find 2 seats nestled in the center, in the rear wall, and also 2 cabinets on the outer edges. These cabinets do have adjustable shelving, and they also have LED lighting and ventilation system within inside. Let's move now to the center section. 2 seats, red seat belts. Just above this location is where you'll find your David Clark headset system. There are 2 headsets here with a main volume control. You'll also find, as we move overhead, the air conditioning unit with the control module just above those 2 seats. Let's now move just forward of those 2 seats, where you'll find your access panel for your daily checks for oil and transmission. On the outer edges, you'll find 2 USB style plug for 12 volt access. This now is the compartment in the open position. You can see the oil fill location and also transmission check. Above this location, you'll find a storage location with additional belts. As we move in between the rear seat, you'll find the auto charge. This is the driver's side. You'll find the black and red caps here. These are 12 volt access blocks. And then you'll also find the speaker regarding your backup system. This is for audible information from the person in the rear. Just a general view looking from the rear section to the forward section of your cab. Over the two seats, officer seat and rear seat, driver's seat and passenger seat, you'll find those additional storage locations, and also you'll find the attachment for 2 additional David Clark headsets. Let's now move to the outside of the apparatus. This is the passenger side, where you'll find a side-facing camera. You'll also find grab handles, once again, at all points of entry, and also a latch with a door lock, which is keyed. Let's move inside now to the officer's location. First, let's identify a point of entry, so you'll have those warning labels on the door panel. You'll also find your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system and airbag. That's the warning label regarding that airbag. And you'll find the location where the airbag is actually stowed just above that. Moving now to the very top section, you'll find a glove box. Be cautious in mounting any equipment within this area. There is the airbag located within this vicinity. You do have drop-down steps on all 4 doors for points of entry for personnel. General view here of your computer system on the dash. Let's go ahead and move to the left-hand side of this area, where you'll find a siren brake push button, and then also your radio push to talk. Let's move slightly behind this location, where you'll find these switches regarding your air horn, howler, and mechanical siren. You'll also find 12-volt access point. These are USB style. And then you'll also find your vehicle data recorder. Let's go ahead and look overhead now in the officer seat. Just a quick look for identifying items. Let's start on the far right-hand side with the first set of switches. You have a front flood, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, rear scene, and then you have your howler deactivate switch. Any of those times those lights or switches have been depressed, the outer edge will illuminate, indicating that it is in the on position. Let's move slightly to the left, where you'll find your PA system and also siren control head. And then you'll also find your AM/FM, Sirius XM, Bluetooth radio. Also just to the left, you'll find on a swivel your Motorola unit radio. As we look overhead in the cab, you'll find push on and off red or white lights. The activation switch is actually the lens. Located in the very center, you'll find a red flashing LED light indicating that you have a door open or a compartment ajar, and not to move your apparatus. Let's go ahead and move now to the driver's area. First, a point of entry, so we have those warning labels there. You'll also find some additional warning labels at about the operator's right ankle, in addition with seatbelt information regarding on the seat. Over the door area, you will find LED lighting. And as we move down, just in the base of the seat, you'll find your auto charge system. When plugged into shore power, this will activate. At about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your tech module. This is for your service department. You'll also find engine, transmission, and ABS diagnostic port in the green cap. On the black cap, that is going to be for your display module. Down at the very bottom, you'll find 3 switches. First on the left, your ABS diagnostic switch. And then moving further down, you'll find engine inhibit, and then also DPF regen. Let's move back to about the right ankle of the operator location. You'll find this placard regarding manufactured by Pierce for Salt River. This indicates the date of manufacture, the 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and all of your fluid capacities, types, and fluid types. In the upper left-hand corner, about the left knee, you'll find your master battery switch. This is an on-off switch. At the very top, near the panel, you'll find your hazard lights. Moving down from that location, you'll find a start switch, and then down at the very bottom, you'll find your ignition switch. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find the next set of switch modules, first starting with the one labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will activate all of your emergency lights. The next switch over is your parking lights and headlights, and then also a panel switch, which allows you to brighten or dim the panel lights for the operator. Located also on the column is where you'll find controls for telescope and tilt, in addition with your turn signal indicator. Let's now move to the steering wheel, where you'll find your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag located in the center, You do have controls on the left and right. They are indicated by images indicating emergency lights, wipers, and your headlight control. Moving to the center of the dash, you'll find on the left your transmission oil, DEF level, and water temp. On the right, you'll find volts, fuel, front air, and rear air, speedometer and tachometer located in the center, and diagnostic information above and below the speedometer. General view here of the center section of your cab. Let's first start on the far left, where you'll find this yellow pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. Located just to the right where the Pierce logo is located, you'll find your display screen, a tremendous amount of information here right at your fingertips. Moving further to the right, you'll find the Allison transmission pad with an indication to pump in neutral. And then on the far right-hand side, you'll find a set of rocker switches. Those rocker switches are your engine retarder and also the retarder auto apply. You do have future switch locations if are necessary. To the right, you'll find your stationary OK to pump and roll. This is an indicator. You do have a water pump and also a foam system switch. Moving up from this location, you'll find a digital readout regarding your pump pressure. And then moving further to the right, you'll find the module regarding your tank vision for your water tank and then also for your foam tank. Just on top of this location, you're going to find two switches for your mirror controls. This is for left and right mirror control. As we move to the center, you'll find your climate control. This houses the heat and defrost and also air conditioning unit. As we look overhead of the operator, let's take a look at this yellow placard on the left. This is indicating a height of 11 feet 9.2 inches, the length 33 feet 9 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 49,800 pounds. This also has the 5-digit job number at the very bottom. If you make any changes to your vehicle apparatus, please update this placard. Moving to the right, you'll find your emergency master, roof light, front warning light, side warning light, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, high beam flash, and also your Opticom switch. Once again, when those are depressed, the outer edge will illuminate. Located just to the right of that, you'll find your traffic advisor. Further to the right, an additional set of switches housing the front flood, driver's side scene, passenger side scene, rear scene. The next set of switches down will indicate the air horn, electronic siren, siren brake for your mechanical siren, and also a load manager. Moving further to the right, you'll find your siren and also PA system. Let's take a look at the rear section of the apparatus. On the top, you'll find these yellow diamonds indicating the surface edge for firefighter safety. You'll also find your booster reel located in the very front section, and then also your master stream device. We'll cover the side panels next. There are some hatch compartments located here. There are 2 on the passenger side and 2 on the driver's side. LED lighting inside, additional dry deck material. Let's take a look at the dunnage area, where we'll find first at the very top of the image your hydraulic oil. This is for your Husky 12 system. We'll go over that in a moment. And then also the top fill location for your water tank, and then also the foam fill location. I would like to point out there is a warning label regarding the foam fill, and that there is a possibility of foam failure if you mix brands, consistencies, or types of foam. Let's move forward in that dunnage area, where you'll find the hydraulic oil reservoir. There is a sight gauge on the far right hand side, and then also ability to shut off that reservoir. Just inside the diamond plate covered area is where you're going to find this next module. This happens to be your hydraulic oil reservoir. This is for your equipment rack. Let's take a look at the booster line. There is a manual rewind. That is a tool that goes into that location, and then also a tension or release for the amount of spool of free run for your hose. Just in front on the cab section, this is a pretty smooth surface. We have these warning labels here regarding not walking on that surface. It is hazardous. You are housed with a 24-foot extension and a 14-foot roof ladder on your equipment rack. Congratulations, Salt River, Arizona, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33433. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.